Hi, welcome. Let's go into another Photoshop training exercise. What we're going to do now is just have a look a bit at the script processor and running actions. So let's have a start, shall we? Firstly, we're going to open up a picture. So let's have a look here. Open up a file. Going to go up to a file, and I've got a file called Images to Process. These are pictures that I took in Venice. I think it was in 2005 actually, so it's a few years ago. Let's find one, shall we? There we go, there's a nice one there. Okay, so I'm just going to double click on that. Just going to open this one here. There you go. So we've got one here of a lovely boat. So what I'm going to do here is I want to change this picture to black and white. Maybe make a thumbnail out of it as well. Now, if I had to do this with 100 pictures, it would be a long, long time and a bit tedious and boring as well. But you can use something in Photoshop called the image processor, and that will allow you to, and actions as well, that will allow you to run the same effect on numerous pictures. And this is how you do it. So firstly, we're going to bring up the actions window. Let me just zoom in. Oops, right, that's it. Just to zoom in a bit. We're going to go up to Window and make sure Actions is ticked. It was ticked already there. If I tick it again, there I can see the Actions window here on the right-hand side. If I scroll down to go to the bottom bit, you see my little mouse pointer turns into a double-headed arrow. If you need to do this, you can click and drag down just to make the Actions window a little bigger. You can see there's certain actions already there. It's default actions. That's the folder with the standard actions in there. So you might see a list of like vignette and having wood frames and other things as well. Some of these work well, some of them don't. But what we're going to do is we're going to record our own actions. The first thing we do is we're going to go and create a new action. So down here at the bottom, notice there's a new button. So click on new, and then the new action button comes up. So we'll give the action a name, shall we? So we're going to call this one black and white photo. That's good. We're going to save it in the default actions. What you can also do is you can assign a function key to the action as well. So if you want to, you can just press the key and it will just run through, in this case, making a photo black and white. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to run the action there. So click on record. Notice down here, you see the red record button's pressed in. So I'm on being recorded. Everything that I do is being recorded. So just be careful. Okay. So next thing we'll do is going to make it black and white. How are we going to do this? Well, just going to go down to the bottom here. Just close off that window there. And then you're going to click on this button just here, which will bring the different adjustment layers up. And then the layer that we're going to choose is the black and white layer. So I click on black and white. Notice the picture comes black and white there. Okay. So I've got the presets here. I can adjust my reds and yellows as well, just to adjust the picture. You don't want to do this too much because it all depends on the type of picture as to how much you want to adjust these different color balances. Just an explanation there. What happens to, say, the blues in an image when you change a color image to black and white? Well, they obviously turn grey, but if you adjust that, it then adjusts the blues. So the blues can be very dark or they can be very light. I think that's about it for that. That's all we're going to do. So what we're going to do is go back to our actions window. So if you want to see here, you see this play button. It says actions. You can give it a click. And down here I can press stop. So it's stopping recording. We can breathe a sigh of relief there. So next thing then we're going to do is we're going to close down this main window here, because we're not actually going to save this photograph. We're just using it as a basis for these actions. So if I close down the window, I'm not going to save any changes, and then we're going to go to the script processor. So let's just zoom back so you can see more of it. So to go to the script processor, what we're going to do is going to go up to File, go down to Scripts, and go to, sorry, called Image Processor. I always confused that. I'm sure it was called Scripts Processor in earlier versions of Photoshop. If you are using an earlier version of Photoshop, then just use this Scripts Processor. So if you click on that one there, notice there you've got this processor, this image processor here. You have 4 steps. So you have the first step here. You're going to select the folder in which the images are that you want to process. So let's click on that folder there. So click on select folder. You've got the choose a folder button here. So you can scroll up and down. You can choose your folder. So the one we're going to choose is the one that's on the exercises. It should be a zipped file that be able to download and images to process. I'm going to click on that and click on OK. The second stage is to select the location. So I'm going to go click on select folder. I'm going to go to, this time I'm going to go to my exercise, desktop. I'm going to create a new folder on the desktop. I'm going to call this one processed images. That's it. Make sure process images is selected. There we go. Click on OK, and then that's the way it's going to go. The file type, I'm going to save as type, and notice here I've already ticked resize to fit. I'm just going to change this from 100 to 100. Oops, just got there so you can see it, to 150. I'll do the same here. And what that means is if the picture is wider than 150, it will squash it into 150 width, or if it's higher, it will squash it into 150 height. It will not distort the images. So the widest point, if it's wider, if it's a landscape image, it will be 150 wide, and then whatever the remaining is of height, and the same if it's portrait as well. Now, an important bit here is running action. So I click on Run Action. I've got my default actions here, but I'm going to click on the drop-down list, and if I go and select black and white photo, it will run that action on all of the photographs in this folder. So let's do that, shall we? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom back so you can see it in a bit more detail, and then I'm going to click on the Run button here. So I click on the Run button, and then I wait. Now, it's not the fastest thing of doing this, but basically it's a lot faster than doing it manually. So you might want to run this and then go and have a cup of tea or something. Depending on how fast your computer is, depends on how fast this will run. So you see there it's flickering, your screen should flicker. There we go. There we go. And just going through it. After which you can then go to your folder and then check out and see your black and white photographs or thumbnails. We're just going to use a program for this called Adobe Bridge when it's finished. And there we go. I think it's just about finished there. So what I'm going to just do is just zoom in a bit. I'm going to go to Adobe Bridge. I'm going to File and go to Browse in Bridge. So Adobe is a program that's a file analyzer. It allows you to look and check out your files. What I'm going to do is just go back to our desktop and just going to find our folder here. So there's the processed images folder. It creates another folder there called JPEG, and there's all our pictures that are black and white. So there'll be more videos on Photoshop and on Adobe Bridge coming, so watch this space. For more information, please see www.computertutoring.co.uk. Thank you for listening.